The Marvel series on Netflix, Daredevils and Jessica Jones, has a new series adding to it, available for streaming starting on September 30th, called Luke Cage. And the man who plays the Harlem drug kingpin Cornell Cottonmouth Stokes in that show is sitting right here, and I will stop talking about you as if you're not here, but I first want to mention that my guest was also Emmy nominated for an outstanding guest actor in a drama series, House of Cards. He's played Remy Danton for many years. Big fan of your work, Mahershala Ali. Thank you for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm a fan of your work as well.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Before we get to Luke Cage and other sports of your other aspects of your sports-loving world, you are not going to be in season 5 of House of Cards?
No.
What in the world is that all about?
Well, you know, it's a big show, and
Sure.
and there's a lot of wonderful characters. But I just wanted to do more and be challenged in different ways,
Sure.
and kind of really diversify and just improve. And it's hard to do that when you're kind of on the schedule for 8 months out of the year, and then you have to find something in like a 4-month window pocket of
Sure.
time. So I just I'm a hungry actor, and I've been at it a long time, and that show has kind of opened up some doors for me, and I just wanted to be able to take advantage of them. So it means letting go of one thing to be able to kind of go for something else.
Look, I know that people thought I was nuts when I left ESPN to go with NFL Network and go live in a different part of the country. I totally get what you're not to compare what I'm doing with what you're doing.
No, but it's the same thing. It's
you know,
the same
people
thing.
are like, "Why in the world would you leave Sports Center and whatever?" But you know, it was announced that I wasn't, you know, going to be doing Sports Center anymore. So, do you know how they're going to handle their character just suddenly not being around anymore?
They kind of did handle it, and I actually thought.
What? Because you were trying to get gas in your car? Or something like that?
No, because at the end of season 4, Jackie and Remy are together in a car, and sorry if I'm spoiling it, but if you haven't watched it yet,
all right.
then
we have what's our spoiler rule here on the Rich Eisen show for something?
That's 24 hours.
24 hours.
Okay, all right.
48 if we're feeling really, you know, good about ourselves.
Okay, so you have 48 hours here to watch 13 episodes. If you don't watch them, that's just too bad for you.
Yes.
Because we're all watching them.
Yeah.
But so at the end, they leave, and I think so it would be up to the audience to kind of, you know, life is ongoing. So, and that's when we no longer see them. But they've kind of driven off into the sunset.
Okay.
And so, like, yeah, because Remy has been trying to get out of politics in some way and redefine himself.
It keeps pulling.
And it just
back
he kept getting pulled back in. But I think he was ready to leave as well. And then you get into like, what does the character have to continue to offer the story? I'd rather leave when people still are affected by a character than to stay and people no longer really resonate with the character. Like, you kind of seen all that he kind of has to offer.
Sure.
So that's more in line with what I was thinking.
Well, congratulations on your Emmy nomination for your work on House of Cards. And now we're excited to see Luke Cage streaming on Netflix starting September 30th. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about your basketball work. Now, you went to St. Mary's. You're from Oakland, right?
I was born in Oakland, raised in Hayward, which is the neighboring city, essentially. And
So who was your hoops guy growing up? Who was it growing up?
Oh, it was Jordan. Like, you know, I tried to pattern everything I did after Jordan.
How so? How'd you do that?
But look, I was a better athlete than I was a player. Like, I could jump out the gym. You know, it was in dunk contest. You mentioned Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd and I were in this dunk contest together in the Bay Area.
Okay. How'd that go?
We tied because I think I did more athletic dunks. But he was doing more creative dunks where he was throwing the ball off the wall and like kind of passing it to himself in really interesting ways.
So not real stuff.
So they were good dunks, you know, for sure. And we played on a AAU, like an AAU team together. And played in I think it was the John Farrell tournament. We played Maryland in the championship game together. Played against him when he was at Cal and I was at St. Mary's.
So what were you, a shooting guard? What were you?
I was
forward.
in high school is interesting, which a lot of kids deal with in high school, is because of their athleticism or size. Like I haven't grown since I was 14, so I've been like 6'2" since I was 14. So I got stuck in the post. But and so when I started playing in summer leagues, I was just playing point guard and kind of a tweener. Yeah. And that's how I got my scholarship. But I really wasn't prepared to play point guard and two guard in college, you know, and the demand and how you run a team, like really knowing how to run a team. Yeah. AAU does not count, you know? And so I struggled once I got to more offensively and understanding the responsibility of being a leader on the floor from the standpoint of being a point guard.
Look
or
at
two
you.
guard.
So that's when you turned to acting, Mahershala? Is that what it started going at that point? Or?
You know, I had a difficult time, but I was always a really creative kid. My father was in musical theater, so he was on Broadway and whatnot. And so it wasn't something I ever tried to do to that point, but it was in my periphery. And so once I was approached about doing a play in college, I was like, well, you know, I play basketball. I can show up after practice and do this little thing real quick. And I did it. I didn't even read the play. I just kind of learned my part and kind of would show up and do my little thing on stage real quick. And one thing kind of turned into another. I kind of began I felt very alive on stage, and also began to kind of see the value in performing like that, and in telling stories and narratives, and began to take it more seriously. And then next thing you know, I graduated and I was doing California Shakespeare Festival and got into NYU for grad school and studied acting.
And now you're in Luke Cage on Netflix, streaming September 30th. Mahershala Ali here on the Rich Eisen Show. So who's a scrappier St. Mary player, you or Matthew Dellavedova? Who's scrappier, you or him?
Dellavedova. I would say Dellavedova.
Do you have any dirty part of your game then?
The dirty part of my game? No, I think if I had been a little bit dirtier, I probably would have had a little bit more success, you know. But we always had we always kind of had a Dellavedova. There's something in the character of the school. There's something in the water there. We always had guys who were, when I was there was a guy named Yvonne Dodick. And Yvonne was a walk-on from Bishop O'Dowd High School that eventually got a scholarship. And Yvonne would I would put Yvonne up against Dellavedova any day, like in terms of just like heart,
nastiness.
Like,
really go down, really go down on the floor and get down there.
Sure. Yeah.
So Luke Cage, starring you, Mike Coulter, Rosario Dawson, and Alfred Woodard, for crying out loud. Yeah. And this looks like a bunch of fun on Netflix. It's just the latest Daredevil type or a Marvel type series that's going down right now, and you play the bad guy.
For lack of a better term, I play the bad guy. I never think bad people think that they're bad, but I do play the villain, and it's just a wonderful opportunity in a series that explores like somebody being a superhero, being a reluctant superhero, specifically in Harlem, and specific to his own powers and abilities, and the threat that my character kind of poses for life in Harlem, because like the task that superheroes are kind of given is to kind of create peace and keep order, and so Cornell Cottonmouth Stokes is a bit of a handful for Luke Cage.
Is there any talk about Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, maybe doing some sort of super Marvel show?
They're working on it right now. It's called The Defenders. And so I don't know when that will arrive, but I know that they're about to go into production of that, or they might be doing it now. And then they're doing I think they're shooting the Punisher right now as well. So they have a lot going on there and they're really, what's great is that they have a different type of license to kind of explore story and to make these a little bit darker and more nuanced than say they can on like an ABC or whatever, which is more of a primetime network, and they can do things that an HBO can do on Netflix.
Well, congratulations on going from House of Cards to a Marvel series on Netflix. You're just going from one to another. Good luck to you on getting that Emmy.
Thank you.
Come back anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Please do that. Mahershala Ali, check out Luke Cage, streaming on Netflix starting September 30th.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.